First off, I'm wondering if you can tell us just how many boats are in the water, in the queue, trying to get to the port here to do either loading or offloading.
Yeah, Carl, good to see you again as well. It must be started off by saying that the ports have never been more productive than they are right now here in Los Angeles. Port productivity for vessels alongside is up 50% since the surge began. And we're exchanging on and off each vessel that comes into the Port of Los Angeles, 11,000 container units. That's the best in the business today. This morning, we have 29 container vessels offshore of the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach awaiting vessel berths, and about 20 more on the way over the next 3 days.
And now, with that new efficiency that you mentioned, does it mean that that can be worked off faster than in the past?
We're continuing to work at record speeds, but the cargo needs to be picked up quicker by the American exporter. We've got miles and miles of trains sitting outside of Chicago, Memphis, and Dallas. Cargo is sitting longer times than normal. Our railroads are full. The 2 billion square feet of warehousing from the shores of the Pacific out to our desert region are overflowing with cargo. We need to start ingesting this product into the American supply chain quickly.
Gene, do you believe that the costs that are being experienced as a result of some of these port closures abroad, do you think that the efficiencies that you laid out will help both exporters and importers digest those? Or do you think that, we need to really get past the Delta variant and potentially other variants that could cause port closures before we start to see a normalization here?
Yeah, Leslie, great question. The news is carrying the supply chain issues around the clock. We don't normally see that, but there are subtle nuances throughout this chain that are impacting costs overall. Most of the American importers in the Trans-Pacific arena contract on an annual basis, so their costs should be fixed. But what you're seeing is that many are going above and beyond the quantity commitments that they give to their service providers and open themselves up to spot pricing. Each part of the supply chain needs to find efficiencies. We've talked at length with the federal government around a 5-point plan to help drive this into the future. And part of it is going to be round trip economics. Our American exports continue to get pummeled by trade policy, the strength of the U.S. dollar, and this most recent phenomenon of moving empty containers back to Asia quickly.
Right. Deadheading just to get them back. It's an amazing thing to watch. I do wonder, you talk about the federal government, how much of this can be answered with an infrastructure bill? Obviously, it's going to be painfully slow in coming, if it comes at all. But how much of this would be solved if, for example, that bill were law today?
Much, but it has to work in parallel with other initiatives, Carl. As you well know, we've been working on these efficiency programs for some time. They're on the ground. We still face 30% of our truck appointments going no-show on the late side of our shifts every day. We've got to get that rectified. On infrastructure, I'll give you one stat, and that's that we've been out-invested at a rate of 11 to 1 over the past decade by the federal government and U.S. Congress. $11 billion have gone to ports on the East and Gulf Coast compared to a little over $1 billion here on the West Coast. It's not something that happened overnight, and we've got to correct this quickly.
Wow, that's a staggering figure. Quick question on vaccine mandates. As we kind of look at what happened in China, do you believe that the risk of port closures due to the virus is something that would warrant a vaccine mandate for port workers?
We have to keep looking at this very closely, Leslie. The work that we've done on the health and safety of our workforce over the past 18 months has allowed our rank and file dock workers to average now 6 days of work per week on the docks since the pandemic began. Looking to continue to vaccinate, whether it's pop-up stands around restaurants and local businesses, to make sure that our workers are healthy and safe is the highest priority for us. We've got to keep digging deeper.